Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna.
Good evening, everyone, globally and locally, of course. Welcome to the Caitanya-caritāmṛta reading and discussion with the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society. And we want to welcome all of you who take the time to participate in this weekly sadhana program of hearing and chanting. Yes, it's a regulated life. It seems every day there's opportunity to serve, and these 3 classes a week give us a chance to come together. It's only 4.5 hours during the week. Although it seems all the time, Ron Singh? Every time I turn around, it's Wednesday. I write it in my calendar at the beginning of the week. Wednesday, don't forget. And then Saturday morning, don't forget. Bhagavad Gita, as it is. I'm reading the Gita right now. As all of you know, I've mentioned it, and it's really ecstatic, I must say. And our friend Garuda, our godbrother, he said, "Oh, how many times have you read the Gita?" Well, let's say more than 20 and less than 40. And I have to tell you, it's even better, this reading through, because of one principle. This principle is, I've just finished reading Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, the 4th chapter. I'm in the 5th chapter, Karma Yoga, and of course that Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. That verse comes up at 434. And it explains about the role of the spiritual master in one's spiritual life. And this principle of Guru Tattva is the most important principle for a disciple to understand. You know, a lot of people think, "Oh, I worship Krishna." Well, that's good that you're worshiping Krishna, but how are you worshiping Krishna? Well, you're worshiping Krishna under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. You don't just make it up. "Oh, I think I'm going to do it this way. Or that way." This is what's going on in some groups. They just make it up, especially when they take the role of a Diksha guru, and all of a sudden they become the ultimate authority. And whatever they say is as good as God? I don't think so. But philosophically, that's how people perceive it. So it's very important to understand Guru Tattva, especially for all of Prabhupada's disciples and the people that they're directing towards Krishna through him. And in this way, you can get a proper connection with the Guru Parampara, the disciplic succession. Otherwise, you're not connected to the source. And the source is the bona fide spiritual master. And when you read the Bhagavad Gita, if you're always thinking how Prabhupada wrote this Gita, like I speak to our godbrother Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, he so much likes the diaries that we're reading. And I wanted to point out, Yaśodā, for you, that I was looking at the diary the other day very carefully. And I'll show you here from, this isn't where we are, but hopefully you can see that. Look at how extensive the writing is. And if you can see it, let me see. Yeah. You can see how extensive Prabhupada's personal handwriting is. And I started to read the personal handwriting. I've been concentrating mostly on the English section on the right hand or left hand side. And I realized that it hasn't been properly transcribed. In other words, they did some kind of a summary. The group that did this, that somehow or other they just kind of summarized it a bit. So it's unfortunate that it's not exactly what Prabhupada was writing. But at the same time, better than nothing for now. And it's our hope in the future we can actually take time and reproduce this diary for all of our members, through our members, so that you get a real accurate understanding of what Prabhupada was writing in his diaries for your own personal vision. Because understanding the pure devotee, understanding his journey, how difficult it was, and how much austerity he went through to bring the message of Lord Chaitanya to us, will give you a better understanding of who you are in relation to him. Because that's what this is about. It's about each individual devotee working on the process of self-realization from wherever they are. This is self-realization. It's not self-aggrandizement, which is the business of many people, is to have that. I'll read something later about this at the end of the 4th chapter in our discussion. Hopefully I can get to it. But I wanted to remind you as well, everyone, that we are producing a Vyas Puja offering book from the Prabhupada Disciples Association. And we do want you to participate. We do want you to write your deepest thoughts and your realizations about yourself and how you appreciate having the opportunity to take up Krishna consciousness in this lifetime. Because this is a very, very auspicious time for all of us. Just think about it. Time is eternal. And we have been in this repeated cycle of birth and death for millions of years. And all of a sudden, here we are in the Kali Yuga of America and Canada and the world. And Prabhupada has showed up here in the Western world and translated all these wonderful books into English and given us an opportunity to get out of this repeated cycle of birth and death. Yes. And many of us will die very soon. There's danger at every step, actually. And I'll finish up here, but I was watching Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, the way things are going in Canada and America specifically. I'm more, because we're over here, we're watching. And it is absolutely horrific to see how the Kali Yuga is taking grips with everybody in the society, and they're all nationalistic. Oh, I'm an American. I'm a Canadian. I'm rich, I'm poor. I'm a Christian. I'm a Jew. All these different designations, when actually Jivara Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nitya Dasa. This is the one thing that all of us understand. We're none of these things. We're not Canadians. We're not Americans. We're not into the Democratic Party. We're not in the Republican Party. We're not conservatives. We're not liberals. We are devotees of Krishna. We are called Vaishnava. The Vaishnava philosophy of Krishna consciousness is above all castes. It's above all It's actually above all ashrams. Vaishnava means devotee, and that is the highest level. And that is our goal here at this group, to remind each of us that this is our role, this is our position, that we are the Vaishnava devotees of Lord Chaitanya and of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. First and foremost, nothing else. And we should work together cooperatively. That's one problem I've realized now, and we are realizing very few people work together in the Krishna Consciousness movement. Very few. Even in the so-called ISKCON group, they're all different cults and groups and sects and individual organizations. They only work with each other in order to maintain their role or their position in that group of organized chaos, mafia chaos, misleading. It's like in the media these days, who do you believe? What do you believe? Do you believe the Fox News channel here in America, or do you believe the CNN channel? Or who do you believe? Do you believe something? So all these people are writing particular angles, and no different in ISKCON. They have a particular angle on the philosophy, and they miss the most important thing. And what is that, Prabhu? That Prabhupada is the bona fide spiritual master living in his Vani incarnation. And if you don't have that realization, if you're not following this principle, you will not get this Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, for example, when he came, if you read his Vyas Puja offerings, if you see the way he conducted his affairs, it was always focused on one thing, and Yaśodā will confirm this. He was always focused on his service to his guru. Period. Not some other guru, not some other group, not reading all this kind of book. One thing. Because without having the mercy of the spiritual master, you cannot get Krishna. And when I say spiritual master, I do mean bona fide. And there is no question that we can be defeated, because Prabhupada is a bona fide spiritual master. Not only that, he lives in sound, he lives in his Vani incarnation, and if we embrace that relationship with him, we'll never be lost in this world of misery. Never. That's our guarantee to all of us from him. So that's basically opening, and now we'll move forward right away to the readings. Here we have, look at this, the Jaladuta diaries. Huh? What a treasure. I got these from Brahmananda and Gargamuni back in the 90s. They were on a book tour, and they brought these to Hamilton to my house. They stayed over for a couple of days. It was really great to have Brahmananda here. I always loved him as a person and a devotee. And Prabhupada was really affectionate towards him as well. And to Gargamuni, of course. And so I was honored to get these books, and I've had them here in my library, and they've come into taken a great role with us and with all of you, in that we're able to give this insight to everyone through the direct readings of Srila Prabhupada in his diaries. And we'll go to the readings now. We're at Wednesday. We're at Monday, the 23rd of August, 1965. So I read this little section, but I'll read it again because it leads us into when you see these next pages, very revealing aspect of the journey. Monday the 23rd, today, Ananda-Ekadasi. We started towards Red Sea on the Western Front at about 12:30 noon. The sky was almost clear, and there was sunshine since the starting of the ship from Cochin port. We are floating now on the Arabian Sea. My seasickness again began. Headache, vomiting, tendency, no hunger, dizziness, and no energy to work. It is continuing. There are sometimes showers of rain, but for a short time there was a fellow passenger in my cabin. He is also attacked with seasickness the whole night past. Tuesday the 24th, today at about 1:30 p.m., I inquired from wheel room that we have come only 400 miles off the Indian coast. My seasickness is still continuing. I take my meals once only, but today I could not take my full meals. Also, although I was fasting today, I'm feeling uncomfortable. And on Wednesday, remember this is a very significant day in Prabhupada's journey. Beginning from today down, and we'll flip the page and just see what happens. Thursday, August 26th. Friday, August 27th. Saturday, August 28th. Sunday, August 29th. Monday, August 30th. And Tuesday, August 31st. Prabhupada writes, passed over a great crisis on the struggle for life and death. A separate statement has to be written on this crisis. So here, Prabhupada experienced his first heart attack. Oh, very, very, very tragic time, very difficult. And you can see on the left there is the writing, passed over a great crisis on the struggle for life and death. A separate statement has to be written on this crisis area. So we'll look into that as we move forward with the reading. We'll go to Wednesday the 1st, Port Suez. So I've shown the map. I think you've got it there. Yeah, see, Port. I just put the handwriting of Prabhupada there. So September 1st. Now remember, he's going to go it's going to be 17 days at sea. He arrives in New York on September 17th, in Boston actually, and then up to New York on the 18th, and then off the boat on the 19th. On Thursday, the 2nd, Suez Canal and Port Said. So that's where they are. That's where he arrived. And then on the 3rd, we started from Port Said today along about 1 p.m. The Port Said city is nice. It has long, narrow, neat, and clean roads with lofty buildings. The city is not at all congested. While passing the rear point of Suez towards Mediterranean Sea, the city is clearly seen, but it is a small city with some industrial factories. Although in the desert in the city, all varieties of vegetables available, there's also a marine drive from like Bombay, Chowpatty Beach. I could see a good park in the city. And Saturday, the 4th of August, there was a rehearsal. Yeah, I think we are. Do we get page 51? Probably, was that the one? Okay, so I finished reading that. I could see a good park in the city. I guess that's where, oh no, here we are. So there was a rehearsal for emergency. We all prepared with belt on the body, and the lifeboat was tested whether they were in order. There were 2 boats with capacity to load 120 persons, but we were all about 55 on the board. So there was lots of space for him in case the boat went down. In the evening, the sky was cloudy and they expected foggy weather, and all of them became a little gloomy. But at night, we passed Malta, Sicily, by God's grace. It was all right throughout the night. On Monday, the 6th, today, I've taken khichdi and kari. It was tasteful. So he's starting to eat again, thank God. Thank Krishna. Prabhupada's getting his strength back. It was tasteful, and I took them with relish, and they gave me a push forward to get renewed strength little by little. No health, no wealth. So what a tragic situation Prabhupada was enduring here. And we're back there with him. It's Monday, August 6th. 1965. And we'll continue on with the reading of these pastimes, this journey that he made from India to America to bring the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to all of us that are sitting here today, attending this Zoom class of Caitanya-caritāmṛta readings and discussions in the unedited books of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the Sankirtan movement, all glories to the Jaladutta diary, and all glories to the devotees of the Lord assembled today. We'll move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and our good friend and wonderful devotee and orator, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, is here with us to deliver the class of Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Muspa Paramahansa Parivrajagācārya Sattara Smadha Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Ramacārya Sri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Śrīvāsādhi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sam Khand Radha Khand Giridharan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Guru Dwarka Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai. All glories to their Supreme. All glories to their Supreme. Thank you very much. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Glories to you, Prabhupada.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion from Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. This reading is being conducted from the original, non-edited, non-interpolated, original 1974-75 version of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. All synonyms, translations, and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As we do every week, we will be reciting a few verses from the Adi Lila, chapter 1, text 18-22, which describes the meaning and the great benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda. Glory to Advaita Chandra, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. 18 Thakur Gaudiya ke karye chenoyatma sat. 18 Charana Bandhan, Tine Motire Morinat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Text 20. Grante Rarambi Karimangala Charana Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions. Tinera Smarane Ai Vigna Vinashana Anayasai Nijavanchita Purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Text 22. Se Mangala Charanoi Trivida Prakar Vastu Nirdesha Shiravada Namaskara. The invocation involved 3 processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. Again, welcome everyone to this reading and discussion. As we've said previously, this particular reading is on the basis of the original non-adulterated Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. I believe that this week we are reading from Adi Lila, chapter 5 or chapter 4, text 271-272. Pitamata Guru Gana Je Avatari Radhikar Bhavavarna Angikar Kari Navadvipe Sachigarbha Shuddha Dugdha Sindhu Tahati Prakata Hoela Krishna Purna Indu Pita Mata, parents, Guru Gana, teachers, Age, first, Avatari, descending, Radhikara of Srimati Radharani, Bhava Varna, the luster of transcendental ecstasy, Angikara, Kari, accepting, Navadvipe, in Navadvip, Sachigarbha, the womb of Sachi, Shuddha, pure, Dugdha Sindhu, the ocean of milk, Tahati, in that, Prakata, manifested, Oila, became, Krishna, Lord Krishna, Purna Indu, full moon, translation by Srila Prabhupada. First, Lord Krishna made his parents and elders appear. Then Krishna himself, with the sentiments and complexion of Radhika, appeared in Navadvip, like the full moon from the womb of Mother Sachi, which is like an ocean of pure milk. Text 273. Ita korilun shashta shlokera vyakyan Sri Rupa Gosanira Pada Padma Karidhyana Eta, thus, Karilun, I have made. Shashta Shlokera, of the sixth verse, Vyakhyana, explanation, Sri Rupa, Srila Rupa Goswami, Gosanira, of the master, Pada Padma, lotus feet, Kari, doing, Dhyana, meditation. Translation, meditating on the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, I have thus explained the sixth verse. Text 274. Ye duish lokerayame ye karila arta, Sri Rupa Gosanira shloka pramana samarta. These, dui, two, shlokera, of the verses, Ami, I, Ye, whatever, Karila, gave, Artha, the meaning, Sri Rupa Gosanira, of Sri Rupa Goswami, Shloka, verse, Pramana, evidence, Samartha, competent. Translation. I can support the explanation of these two verses, verse 5 and 6 of the first chapter, with Sri Rupa Goswami's verse, text 275. Aparam kasyapi pranayi jana vrindasya kutuki rasastomam ritva maduram upabhuktum kamapiya rucham swamabhavridyutimiha tadiyam prakatayam sadevas Caitanya-caritāmṛtaram na kripayatu. Aparam, boundless, kasyapi, of someone, pranhaye jana vrindasya, of the multitude of lovers, kutuki, one who is curious, rasastomam, the group of mellows, ritva, stealing, maduram, sweet, upabhoktum, to enjoy, kamapi, some, ya, who, rucham, luster, svam, own, uvavre, avavre, covered, dutim, luster, iha, here, tadiyam, related to him, prakatayan, manifesting, sa, he, devaha, the supreme personality of Godhead, Caitanya-caritāmṛta, having the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, atitaram, greatly, na, unto us, kripayatu, may you show his mercy. Translation, Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mellows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels, Sri Radha. And so, He has assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. He has tasted that love while hiding his own dark complexion with a refulgent yellow color. May that Lord Chaitanya confer upon us his grace. Purport. This is the third verse of the second Chaitanya-staka of Sri Rupa Goswami's Stavamala. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhaktisiddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataha Adadana-strinam danter idam yache punaha punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvatam Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Preshta Shat Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First, I wanted to apologize for my missing last week. I was on a driving trip to Los Angeles for legal and personal reasons. I've had numerous inquiries asking if I was okay. Yes, I'm okay. Still recovering from the crazy driving on these nasty freeways in California. We have here Krishna Das Kaviraj starting to go deeper and deeper into how and why the incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come. We saw in the previous verses how Krishna Das Kaviraj was explaining the sentiments of Lord Krishna for Srimati Radharani. And as a result of these innermost feelings, the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu occurred. It is described very nicely in the first 6 verses of the Adi Lila chapter 1, the reason for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These verses were composed by Swarup Damodar Goswami in his Kadacha, his notes. And here we're getting into a section of Caitanya-caritāmṛta where it goes deeper about the sentiments of Radharani for Lord Krishna and Lord Krishna's sentiments for Radharani. This is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. This is very important because there are some Vaishnava Sampradayas who do not accept the position of Radharani or do not comprehend the exalted position of Srimati Radharani. Many of them will say, well, the name of Radharani is not mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Well, it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam in an indirect way. The story is, during the Rasa Lila, one of the gopis, Radharani, left the Rasa Lila, and Krishna went to find her. In the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, there is a quote from the Bhagavatam, Anayariditu nunan Bhagavan Aririshwaraha. And this has been commented upon by all the great acharyas in our disciplic succession that this verse indicates that this personality who left the rasa krida, the dancing of the rasa dance, this was Srimati Radharani. Not only that, but there are other Puranas, such as the Padma Purana, Brahma-vaivarta Purana, Vishnu Purana, which does mention the position of Srimati Radharani. It is not that we have invented this. And there are numerous other Vedic Vaishnava literatures which mention the position of Srimati Radharani. And the greatest benefit that we have from Srila Prabhupada giving us the Caitanya-caritāmṛta is how he's explaining the systematic science of bhakti to reach the lotus feet of Krishna and Radharani. Ultimately, this is called sakshatkar in the writings of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He describes the entire process of bhakti in considerable detail, all the way from the initial faith in contact with devotees, all the way to what's called sakshatkar, which is direct vision of Lord Krishna, direct darshan of Lord Krishna. Of course, in a neophyte stage or beginning stage, that may be a little difficult to comprehend. But if we apply with a little bit of faith and follow the process given by Srila Prabhupada, then gradually everything will be revealed. I've often told the story of one devotee lady named Ujjvala Devi Dasi in Los Angeles. She related to me a story in 1970 of how she received that name Ujjvala. When she was initiated, she asked Srila Prabhupada, what does that name mean? And Prabhupada explained to us, according to Rupa Goswami, in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, this is considered one of the most elevated stages of love of God at Ujjvala. And Prabhupada said, if you follow these principles, chant 16 rounds, read the books, in this lifetime, you will achieve that. So this is confirmed. Srila Prabhupada was once asked by one of his senior disciples, of everything you've taught, what is the most important verse? And Prabhupada replied, Yasya deve parabhaktir yata deve tata gurau tasyete Caitanya-caritāmṛta prakāsanti mahatmanaha. This is from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, that for those who have firm faith in the Guru and Krishna, unto those great souls, all the meaning of the Vedic literatures is revealed. Now, this is a very important point because we have seen different philosophies emerge, especially since the departure of Srila Prabhupada in 1977, particularly those who claim that Prabhupada just taught the basics and the fundamentals. And there are some other advisors who teach the real advanced, the real esoteric meaning of spiritual life. Well, that's a pious belief. You can choose to believe whatever you want to believe. But the reality is, if you carefully study all of Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's conversations, Prabhupada's lectures, Prabhupada's letters, the total body of Srila Prabhupada's Vani, you will understand everything. Everything will be revealed. This is not simply some false glorification. This is a fact. We have seen practically so many persons who've taken up the process of Krishna consciousness without the direct physical presence of Srila Prabhupada. There are many devotees during Prabhupada's manifested presence who were initiated by Srila Prabhupada, who never met Srila Prabhupada. There are many devotees who only saw Prabhupada briefly at the time of the initiation ceremony. So just this physical association was not the main emphasis of Srila Prabhupada. There are two basic principles, Vani and Vapu. Now, everybody is familiar with these Sanskrit terms. But the reality is that some people have misunderstood the teachings. They're trying to emphasize their vapu over and above Prabhupada's Vani. This is not basically the proper understanding. In other words, those who promote their physicality to be more important than Prabhupada's eternal Vani have not understood the real association. And those who claim that Prabhupada just taught the basics, obviously they have not read Prabhupada's teachings. They have not read Prabhupada's books. They have not done that. I had an interesting exchange with His Divine Grace in 1977. In the beginning of May, I had the opportunity to massage Prabhupada at night, usually for about 2 or 3 hours, while Prabhupada was getting ready to take rest. So on one of these occasions, Prabhupada said, "Do you hear what's going on?" I said, "What, Prabhupada?" Prabhupada said, "The monkeys, the cuckoos, the birds, do you hear?" I said, "Yes, Prabhupada." It says, "This is Vrindavan. This is Krishna's special land." Prabhupada said, "This is the highest place in the universe." And I told Srila Prabhupada, "Well, didn't you say that Mayapur and Navadvip were the highest places in the universe?" And Prabhupada says, "Yes, they are both important, but in this place, Krishna and Balaram used to play here." And Prabhupada said, "This is very, very special place." So then I quoted a verse that Srila Prabhupada had in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, "Trailoki pritividanya yatra vrindavanam bhuvi, tatrapi gopikaha parta radha yatra radha bidam mama," that this earth planet is very, very fortunate because Lord Krishna and the gopis came here, and the foremost gopi is Srimati Radharani. And I told Prabhupada, this is from your Caitanya-caritāmṛta, quoted from the Adi Purana. Prabhupada, yes, that is very, very special place. So in other words, Prabhupada gave so many gifts, so many transcendental gifts. And as a disciple, we have to become a guru sevi, one who develops the mentality of selflessly serving the spiritual master without personal motivation. Not a guru bhogi, one who wants to enjoy the assets of the guru, or a guru tyagi, one who renounces the order of the guru. Guru sevi means one who simply aspires to be a servant of the spiritual master. This is nicely summarized by Raghunath Das Goswami in one of his writings, and we actually put that verse in the beginning of the speech. It says, "Adadana sridam danteridam yachi punaha punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhurishyam Janma Janmani," that I take a piece of grass in my mouth and repeatedly bow down at the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami. I simply aspire to become a piece of dust at the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami, birth after birth. This should be our desire. This should be our aim, to factually simply desire the service of the Acharya. Simply, in the first manifestation of service of the Acharya is don't change his teachings, don't pollute his teachings, do not manufacture crazy interpretations. Why do we repeatedly say this? Because some persons think, oh, I was appointed to manage, so therefore now I can say anything and do anything. Oh, really? You think you can do anything? There will be no consequences? You think you can misquote, misrepresent, and there will be no consequences? You think you can change the words of the Acharya, claiming that you really understand his intent or his meaning, and you think there will be no consequences? Just today, I had a good friend in India who basically is a Vaishnava. He chants and follows. He's a good Prabhupada follower. And he also goes very deeply in the study of Vedanta philosophy from the point of view of the Madhva Sampradaya. And he was explaining that during the time of Madhvacharya, as we know, he was a fierce opponent of the Mayavadis, of the followers of Shankaracharya. And some of the foremost arguments to defeat these Mayavadis came originally from Shankaracharya. Now, Ramanujacharya also, he also had many, many writings where he was disputing the conclusions of the Advaitins, the Mayavadis, but Madhvacharya took it to a next level. And it is very intricate and very, very powerful arguments. In all the acharyas in that sampradaya, specifically Jayatirtha, Vyasatirtha, Raghavendra Swami, and so many others, their entire line of disciplic succession is to expose and defeat this nonsense Mayavadi philosophy. Interestingly, we had an interesting meeting one time with one of these followers of Shankaracharya, and he was trying to explain their word jugglery of speculation. And they say, well, Brahma Satya Jagan Mitya, that Brahman is the truth and this world is false. So we asked them, so this mat where you're living, is that true or false? This temple and this mat that you're speaking, you're living here, is that a fact? Is that a true, or is it false? If it's false, you've just defeated your own philosophy. You admitted that besides Brahman, there is something else. If it is true, then you're confirming our point, that it's not false, it's temporary. Of course, they have no real arguments, no real answer to these kind of arguments, except some supplemental word jugglery. But we see in the writings of Shankaracharya, interestingly, we just seen on the internet from Jagannath Puri, the Jagannath Puri festival, where Lord Jagannath, Balaram, and Subhadra are taken from the Jagannath Puri temple to the Gundicha Mandir for 7 days. And it is quite a magnificent procession. For those of you who have not seen this, you can go on YouTube and you put Jagannath Ratha Yatra. There's just some amazing, absolutely amazing pictures and videos that have taken of Lord Jagannath. And Lord Jagannath is pretty big. It's pretty big. There was one caption from one TV station in Orissa says, the boss is coming. When Lord Jagannath comes out of the temple, he's very heavy. He's almost 10 foot tall, 8 foot wide. It's like it takes very strong men to move him along onto the carts. And it is quite an amazing experience to see this. Quite an amazing experience. Now, what happened in 1971, I went with another devotee to Jagannath Puri. We tried to enter into the temple. And the policemen there refused. They had these lathis or sticks. No, you cannot come in. You're not Hindu. You're not this. You're not that. They said the only person who can let you in is the Puri Shankaracharya. Of course, he was not there at that time, so we didn't get to speak to him. But basically, when we related the story to Srila Prabhupada back in Calcutta, Prabhupada's point is, don't feel sorry, because Lord Jagannath came to your country. These people, they are so narrow-minded, Prabhupada said, they do not understand that Jagannath is not Purinath. He's not just the Lord of a little village. He's the Lord of the universe. But they don't understand this. But Lord Jagannath has now come to your country so you can worship him, offer bhoga, offer kirtan and everything. So Prabhupada says that is the mercy of Lord Jagannath. So this is the position. We have to devote our lives, our senses, our intelligence, and go very deep into the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, so one will not be misled by false propaganda. This is very important, because many times people say, well, I believe. There are so many different conversations. Prabhupada said, you may believe whatever you want, but fact is fact. Your belief may not be a fact. So anybody is free to believe whatever they want, but one has to corroborate his belief with the statements of the Acharya. One should not be reluctant to hear the statements of the Acharya and understand the history. In the Vedas, there is a very famous statement that he who understands history lives forever. Just like Prabhupada mentioned in the Bhagavatam, in the first canto, the dedication, he lives forever by his divine instruction and the follower lives with him. I see so many people still arguing about this living guru, physicality, everything. Okay, very good. How about discussing that statement from Prabhupada? I never hear anybody discussing that. How about Prabhupada's statement on the 13th of January, 1969 in the Srimad Bhagavatam class in Los Angeles, California? What we have heard from the spiritual master, that is living. Again, you won't hear them discussing that. When Prabhupada was asked in July of 1975 in San Francisco, what will happen to the movement when you die? Prabhupada's immediate reply was, I shall never die. I shall live from my books and you will utilize. Now, it's important to note, and I've discussed this before, that from the life history of Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and our Srila Prabhupada, we find no record of any of these acharyas ever appointing a single successor or a group of successor initiating gurus after them. There's no record of that. And as much fanfare and speculation and interpretation people may come up with regards to Prabhupada's statements, no one has been able to produce in the last 46 years any factual, concrete record evidence of this so-called alleged appointment, because it was not their main preaching. The main preaching of all these last three great acharyas was the propagation of literature, transcendental devotional literatures. We are not like Nityananda Vamsha or caste Brahmins or caste Goswamis. This is not our position of people who set up a business to become professional gurus for money-making, selling mantras. This is not our position. Our position is to promote, first to follow properly the teachings of the Acharya and distribute faithfully as he has given them. Those who change the words of the Acharya are disconnected from the Acharya. They're not following the Acharya Srila Prabhupada, although they claim to be. You cannot change the words of the Acharya. I was relating some incident with the Madhva Sampradaya. During the lifetime of Madhvacharya, there was one very big Pandit named Trivikramacharya. So Madhvacharya debated this person 10 hours a day for 2 weeks straight. In our movement, the minute you start discussing something, they either walk away, become totally silent, or will offer some insults or complete gibberish, nonsense, contradiction. What to speak of 15 days, 10 hours a day? Because it is based on falsehood. I've often related the conversation with Prabhupada and Shyamasundar, where Prabhupada was analyzing the Russian communist system and the Chinese communist system. And Prabhupada said, my proposition is that anything you present that is false will not last. It will not last. If it is not based on truth, it will eventually fail. Now, this is very important, because some people don't get it. Some people were asking, why is there so much difference between devotees? Why is there so much dissension? Dissension means they do not follow the principles. They're not following the Acharya. Irregardless of how many buildings, how many bricks and stones you have, how many followers or so-called followers, that is irrelevant. Devotee means devoted to the Acharya, connected to the Acharya, faithfully, without change, without concoction, without manufacturing. Very important point. Prabhupada said on a morning walk on February 26, 1976 in Mayapur, February 26, 1976 in Mayapur, Prabhupada, as soon as we manufacture something that is sense gratification, I want to fulfill my desire, that's all. That is sense gratification. The basic principle is sense gratification. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Glorious to Srila Prabhupada, and thank you very much for that wonderful explanation of these verses from Caitanya-caritāmṛta and the understanding of how to connect them into our own life and understanding of how to practice Krishna consciousness properly. And at the end of this chapter, Adi Leela chapter 4, text 276, which is the next verse in this series of verses that were read this evening, it says, "Thus the auspicious invocation, the essential nature of the truth of Lord Chaitanya and the need for his appearance has been set forth in 6 verses." So these previous 6 verses give us an understanding of why Lord Chaitanya appeared to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, to understand his relationship between Radha and Krishna. And so I wanted to just briefly, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, go to the Bhagavad Gita, to the famous verse, text number 8, chapter 4. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha diskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. And we'll move to the verse. In order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I invent myself millennium after millennium. So we'll move down to the last half of the purport, where it explains about the avatar, yes, Caitanya-caritāmṛta of Krishna Das Kaviraj. The following verses summarize these principles of incarnation. Shrishti hetu ye murti panchape avatare sei ishwara murti avatar namadhare mayatita pravavomi sarara avastana Vishve avatari dari avatar nama. The avatar, or an incarnation of Godhead, descends from the kingdom of God for material manifestation. And the particular form of the personality of Godhead who descends, is called an incarnation or avatar. Such incarnations are situated in the spiritual world, the kingdom of God. When they descend to the material creation, they assume the name avatar. There are various kinds of avatars, such as Purusha avatars, Guna avatars, Lila avatars, Shaktavesha avatars, Manvantara avatars, and Yuga avatars, all appearing on schedule all over the universe. But Lord Krishna is the primeval Lord, the fountainhead of all avatars. Lord Sri Krishna descends for the specific purpose of mitigating the anxieties of the pure devotees who are very anxious to see him in his original Vrindavan pastimes. Therefore, the prime purpose of the Krishna avatar is to satisfy his unalloyed devotees. And here we come to the key section here of the Yuga avatar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord says that he incarnates himself in every millennium. This indicates that he incarnates also in the age of Kali. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the incarnation in the age of Kali is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who spread the worship of Krishna by the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy names, and spread Krishna consciousness throughout India. He predicted that this culture of Sankirtan would be broadcast all over the world from town to town and village to village. Lord Chaitanya, as the incarnation of Krishna, the personality of Godhead, is described secretly, but not directly in the confidential parts of the revealed scriptures, such as the Upanishads, Mahabharata, and Bhagavatam, etc. The devotees of Lord Krishna are much attracted by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. This avatar of the Lord does not kill the miscreants, but delivers them by the causeless mercy of the Lord. So this gives us real insight by Srila Prabhupada into how we are so blessed to be connected to the Sankirtan mission through him. This is how we are situated in this life. We are the servants of the spiritual master and the servant of Lord Chaitanya. And it's our responsibility to constantly practice this process of devotional service according to his instructions. So how important it is to chant your rounds. Key. It's a key to success. It's not an option if you consider yourself a disciple of Srila Prabhupada or a disciple of Lord Chaitanya. This is not a lip service religion where I just talk. It's more a process of discipline, because disciple does mean discipline. There is no option. And one should understand that these vows, whether you're formally initiated by Srila Prabhupada while he was personally present here, or you're initiated now in the future through the Ritvik process, the principle is the same. You have to chant your rounds, minimum 16 rounds every day. And the combination of hearing the philosophy from the devotees of the Lord, chanting your rounds, and offering your prasadam, your bhoga, to Krishna through Prabhupada properly. We have an explanation on our website how to offer your food properly. The most important thing is sincerity. It's not formality, it's sincerity. The more you're sincere about preparing food, offering it to Krishna, and not only cooking it for yourself, everyone, but cooking it for others. You have to come up with a program of distributing prasadam, even if it's to a friend or a family member or a guest that you really don't know, but you invite them for prasadam. In this way, you make some effort to distribute prasadam, because prasadam is a very important part of our mission. In fact, our movement is called, everyone, the kitchen religion. It's a religion of cooking and distributing prasadam. So these are basic principles. It's not complicated, because everyone has to eat. But if we cook and offer our food to Prabhupada to accept it and have him offer it to the Lord for our blessing, then this will be a great benediction on us as devotees. And this will properly prepare us for leaving this body, because everything is preparation. Opportunity and preparation makes someone successful. You have to be prepared. So this constant focus every day. I had a discussion today with a devotee, a friend of mine from Montreal, by the way. And I know that Richisha Devi Dasi is from Montreal, I believe it. She's a Prabhupada disciple, and she's on the program today. But anyway, I was speaking to a devotee from Montreal who's living overseas. And I stressed to him this one thing, that he always has to stay focused through all his trials and tribulations on this process of discipline, of practice of Krishna consciousness. Because this is a personal service that we as devotees practice in order to be potent There is no potency in hypocrisy. There is only potency when you practice what you preach. So very important, and it's a wonderful opportunity for all of us. All of us. And I used to tell people in my previous work, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, I had a program I was developing in my business career, and it was very successful. Oh, yes. And people were all excited. Oh, it's so good, and we like it, and we're going to come every week and see you guys and hear the music you're playing. And we had thousands and thousands of people coming out to see us over the years. It was steady, just like our classes are steady. Our classes are every week. We don't miss. We have over 300 classes. Now, what happens? Let's hope that it doesn't stop. Let's hope. You never know. Things are so difficult these days on many different levels. But at the same time, we're consistent with trying to keep this going. But everyone should realize that sometimes things will change. What if there was a nuclear war? I mentioned that the other day. Look at the way things are between Israel and the Middle East countries there. So much anger, so much war, so much killing. Look at how horrific the lifestyle in America is. They're supporting now the big platform in the Democratic Party is women's rights to have abortion. That's the big platform. So Kamala, she's saying, oh, we stand for women's rights. What are those rights? Oh, well, you can kill the baby within the womb. Oh, it's not a discussion over that. But the point is, this is how the world is. It's gone insane. And because of that insanity, at any moment, padam padam vipadam natesham, danger at every step, Prabhu. Dasa Avatar in Australia. There's danger at every step. Even if you go out in your car, like you drive around, something could happen. Someone could say, it won't happen to me. Well, anything could happen. You could get an announcement tomorrow when you go to the doctor. Oh, you've got cancer, by the way. Oh, excuse me. I know when I got announced that I had cancer years ago, I denied Krishna Kata, my doctor, what he said. I said, no, I don't. He goes, yes, you do. It took me 2 operations to finally accept it. I ended up with 5 cancer operations over a period of 3 years and extended treatments and that. And by Krishna's mercy and Prabhupada's blessing, I'm free from that cancer now. But I still couldn't believe it. I can remember when I heard it, I was all nervous. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Finally took a stage, Dasa Avatar, in my life where I started to accept, oh yes, I've got cancer. You know, it's like a negative term. I know Yaśoda's been through a bout of cancer as well, and he survived. So there's danger at every step in life. Padam padam vipadam natesham. And we should always remember that. And therefore, thank Krishna that we have this program. Thank Krishna it's here. It could stop. And then you're on your own again. You really are. We're all on our own in a different way. But thank Krishna that this has come about by the divine mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could further comment. Microphone, please. Just push.
You're bringing up some very important point, and I think that devotees obviously are intelligent. That's why they become devotees. And I want to read from that one conversation with Srila Prabhupada and Shyama Sundar from Dialectical Spiritualism, where Prabhupada talks about propaganda and fact.
Yes.
Rebhatinanda, they don't accept anymore, Prabhupada. Anyway, the Russia is supposed to be the leader of the communistic idea. Rebhatinandana, they don't accept anymore. There is Mao, Prabhupada. Similarly, sometimes after he will not be accepted. That is my proposition. As Russia is not accepted now, some days after he will not be accepted. Similarly, your also theory will fail. That is my proposition, because I challenge that your theory is not perfect. Because Russia's theory was not perfect, it has failed. Similarly, I say your theory is also imperfect, therefore it will fail. Anything imperfect will fail. That is my proposition. Rebhatinanda. His propaganda is that it is perfect because it has made the Chinese people, Prabhupada, propaganda. By propaganda, you can do anything. That is a different thing. But fact is fact. If your theory is not perfect, you make however propaganda, it will fail. So this is a very important point, because we keep talking about all these issues going on with Srila Prabhupada's original society. What is the basic premise of that guru system? A false appointment, a hoax, a falsehood and a fabrication. No one has been able to prove it. As a matter of fact, the mastermind and godfather of that whole system admitted in California on December 3rd, 1980, this idea of appointment of gurus is a myth. People should come out of this mythology and look at facts, look at the history, the way it has happened, and take proper corrective action. This is very important. Just like in Canada and the United States, they have gas stations. There's a lot of regulations in the petroleum industry regarding gas station and the contamination that creates in the soil. You can't just take a boatload or a truckload of soil that's contaminated and dump it anywhere. It doesn't work that way. You have to remediate. You have to take corrective actions. Similarly, devotees in their lives should take corrective actions. Get the facts straight. Don't be sentimental. Don't be emotional. Look at the history. Look at the facts. Look at Prabhupada's books. Look at Prabhupada's statements. Then will we be able to understand. Very important point. Hare Krishna.
Yes, very important point, and key to understanding this philosophy is to understand Guru Tattva principle. And I've been talking to someone about his point of view on Varnashram, how important Varnashram is. And I pointed out to him, the most important thing is become a Vaishnava, not a Brahmin, not a Kshatriya, not a Shudra, not a Vaishya. Become a Vaishnava. That's what we're training up to become, devotees of Krishna. And I saw with our group today, we have our friend who I've known since 1975. Around then, I had a chance to speak to Prabhupada about his work, because back then he was an academic. Even back then, I had quite a few academics in Toronto when I was president. I was friends with Professor Joseph O'Connell, as you know, Yaśodā, who Prabhupada met multiple times. And so Joe O'Connell was in the office with Prabhupada. I was in the office with Srila Prabhupada, and I mentioned about Garuda Prabhu being in Chicago. I had met him, and he was studying I believe at the University of Illinois. And he's made some comments here in the chat box about the guru position. I thought maybe he could share some of his insights further to his chat with us today on this wonderful opportunity of Krishna consciousness with other devotees. Haribol Prabhu.
Hi, my pranams to all here. I came in a little late, but I caught the end of Yaśodā-nandana's brilliant discourse. I thank him for that. And these are important topics. I won't say much. Oh, by the way, I was at the University of Chicago when we met in the doctoral program, but then I shifted to Harvard and finished there. It's funny because Rupanuga called me up one day and said, I don't think anyone's ever going to do this. So you need to go to Harvard because everyone recognizes Harvard, you know? So as soon as I got into Chicago, he forced me to apply to Harvard, and Prabhupada blessed me in that work in a letter. But you know, as I said, and I'm not going to take much time because you have very little time left, but everything that you're saying and that Yaśodā-nandana ji is saying, if we just love Prabhupada, yes, we will naturally serve him. If we love Prabhupada, we will naturally not try to manipulate his instructions or his words. If you love someone, you don't do that. What to speak of the Acharya?
Yes.
If you love Prabhupada, you will find any way to serve him and his instructions and his mission. And it's almost that simple in my mind. I'm thinking it's that simple. I can get very complicated with theological, discourse and philosophical arguments and so on. But Prabhupada gave us everything. He came as an extraordinary inaugural teacher, world teacher of Krishna Bhakti, and there was no lacking there. These devotees who say that he's just giving us the basics, the ABCs, he did not give us advanced vision. Well, this is an extraordinary insult to the whole Guru Parampara, to him, and to, for example, the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, which consolidates the essence of our tradition.
Yes.
Anyway, so I'll stop there, Vishwakarma, because I'm terribly loquacious and I can go on for hours. So I'm just going to stop there.
Thank you very much. Krishna Kata in San Diego. He's got the Bhagavatams up there.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, everybody.
Maybe you could,
Pranams
Haribol.
to everyone on this wonderful Wednesday evening. Wow. Garuda, thank you for saying that, because you're absolutely spot on again. Every activity, every decision, every action, when it's based in love, in the service of the servant of Srila Prabhupada, we will be successful. We will understand Prabhupada's position. And that is the beginning of the mercy flowing from the spiritual world, from Krishna, is taking Prabhupada into our heart with an attitude of love, not attitude of, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to fix that, I'm going to fix this, or whatever. Yaśodā-nandana pointed out very nice that is not only offensive, but it is the moment that you're in Maya, when you think you can do better than the spiritual master. That's when Maya says, I got you. So I was on the phone today with a senior devotee, senior meaning longtime initiated Prabhupada disciple, and he is telling me how he somehow or other has now become an initiated Diksha Guru. And I found it quite interesting, because we know that there's profit and adoration and distinction, and this is generally the hidden agenda, or not so hidden sometimes. But this particular devotee had the most whimsical reason. And we've used this word quite a bit, right? Prabhupada says, do not be whimsical. Do not make decisions whimsically. Be serious. So this devotee told me that he did not chase after the GBC and put his name in the hat. Please vote for me so I can have some worship and some fame and cushy lifestyle, jet set credit card, none of that. No, he said to the aspiring bhakta, you take care of that. I'm not going to chase after it, but if you can convince them, then okay, I'll initiate you. That is the personification of, that is the definition of whimsical, because you're not thinking it through. You're not understanding that the heaviest of positions to represent Paramatma and the whole entire parampara. You're just whimsically saying, you go take care of putting my name in the hat and you convince them, and then I'll do it. I didn't want to say anything. This devotee was a big mentor of mine and guided me when I was a young bhakta. So there'll always be that spiritual connection and big bank account with Krishna. I get that. But now he has become in this attitude of whatever, it doesn't matter. You take care of it, and then I'll initiate you and give you a name, a spiritual name. So it's a new one on me. I always thought that it was a result of profit and adoration and distinction and worship and dakshin, right? Dunda dakshin, right? I have a dunda, give me dakshin. Here's a new one for me. I've never been exposed to this until today. And I'll just leave it at that. I have enough said. This has been another amazing transcendental class. There's, like you say, Vishwakarma, there's 300 of them on YouTube. Yaśodā-nandana, thank you so much for your deep realization and your preparation for these amazing classes. I always get so enlivened. I appreciate all of you. There's hopefully more time for other devotees to speak. I just wanted to share that with you. I thought that was astonishing. And Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai.
All glories to Prabhupada. I wanted to turn to the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita and text 42. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Knowledge, armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. So we're going to go to the end of the purport where we're talking about, where Prabhupada's mentioning here, all of these all of these are known as sacrifice, and all of them are based on regulated action. But within these activities, the important factor is self-realization. One who seeks that objective is the real student of the Bhagavad Gita. Keep going down. You're right at the bottom line there. But within all these activities, the important factor is self-realization. Thank you. So this is the key here. One who seeks that objective is the real student of Bhagavad Gita. But one who doubts the authority of Krishna falls back. So it is, I'm going to keep reading this purport, by the way. The important factor is self-realization, not appointment as elected guru. That's a mistake. That is a flaw in this person's idea, Krishna Katha, that you pointed out today. He's become a guru. You have to become self-realized. Then you can teach. One who seeks that objective is the real student, but one who doubts the authority of Krishna falls back. One is therefore advised to study Bhagavad Gita or any other scripture under a bona fide spiritual master with service and surrender. A bona fide spiritual master is in the disciplic succession. From time eternal, he does not deviate at all from the instructions of the Supreme Lord as they were imparted millions of years ago to the sun god, from whom the instructions of Bhagavad Gita have come down to the earthly kingdom. One should therefore follow the path of Bhagavad Gita as it is expressed in the Gita itself. And here's the key, everyone. And be aware of self-interested people after personal aggrandizement who deviate others from the actual path, like your friend that thinks he's a guru. Krishna Katha, that's what he thinks. Okay, think whatever you want. The Lord is definitely the supreme person, and his activities are transcendental. One who understands this is a liberated person from the very beginning of his study of the Gita. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports, the 4th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in the matter of transcendental knowledge. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could further comment.
Well, that purport there, the end of chapter 4, text 42, is very revealing. How many times have we heard Srila Prabhupada in his writings, in his lectures and conversation, give the same warning in so many different ways? Just like I was reading a few of these quotes about manufacturing. There was another conversation on July 1st, 1977 in Vrindavan, a room conversation, Srila Prabhupada. So if instructions are there, if you read it carefully, you get, but don't manufacture in your own way. That will not be successful, Bhagavad Gita 16:23. But he who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection, nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. So this is very revealing. Prabhupada is giving a lot of warnings, because sometimes people ask, well, didn't Prabhupada talk about this? Didn't Prabhupada give any warnings? Didn't Prabhupada tell the devotees that if they act this way, that way, there would be such... Yes, there's plenty of warnings, but those who have personal motivation will bury those warnings and not discuss them. One thing that I've known among scholars and academic people, even though many times they will have differences on perspectives or different understanding, different levels of realization, they don't go insulting one another. This is considered unacceptable in that field. You don't go and insult. You may have a difference of opinion, a difference of realization, a different perspective, but don't go try to insult, because that will not last. In our movement, it's the other way around. Personal attacks, innuendos, fabrications, lies and falsehoods, character assassination, then it's, okay, now let's discuss. Well, that is not the way. This is not the way that Prabhupada taught us. This is not the way that Brahmanas discuss. This is not the way that sadhus discuss. One should not shy away from discussion. And the reason, because people sometimes ask me, well, didn't anybody try to discuss this in the beginning? Yeah, we tried. And their attitude was, there is nothing to be discussed. We have already discussed everything already. Who is we? Is that the same we who informed the devotees in March of 1978 that they had consulted with higher authorities? Is that the same we? So there's a lot of unanswered questions still 46 years later, and devotees are getting more and more educated, more and more knowledgeable about what happened. They can read from Prabhupada, study history, and understand things, then they can make their decision. And those who wish to remain blind or sentimental or emotional or foolish, they can choose to do that too. You know, there's an old saying in Sanskrit, ajnanam anandosti, that for some people, knowledge, ignorance is bliss. We don't subscribe to that idea. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes, and it is a difficult task to try to explain it to people that are already infected with the poison of these changed philosophy based on compromise. Compromise for self-aggrandizement, as Prabhupada mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita here in the purport. So it's very difficult. Don't be discouraged, everyone. I think it's more important for us to stay focused on our own development, our own discipline, and our own group of devotees that we see eye to eye with, that are birds of the same feather. Prabhupada said, birds of the same feather flock together. And, you know, we have a good result. I got a wonderful letter from someone in India this week saying how much they felt so fortunate to be able to reach us on Hare Krishna Society YouTube page for our classes. So every week we're finding people in this ocean of humanity who are very sincere and serious about the process of Krishna consciousness, and they appreciate very much this outpost of information. There's very small. It's not a big number of people, but some is better than none. I always say this, Yaśodā. 2 is better than 1, 3 is better than 2, 4 is better than 3, 5 is better than 4. If you keep going like that, gradually the truth, as you said, cannot be stopped by any material force, nothing. There may be a few of us, that's okay. And let Krishna work to guide us to come together and work together to spread the mission of Lord Chaitanya into the future. And we're doing it. We've got all kinds of programs. And this Vyasa Puja book, please write your offering. And I don't know if Venkat Bhatta, our Prabhu, our production manager, Prabhu, do we have a link on the website yet for the people to send it to? Or what would you suggest as the best way to send their offerings in? Okay, well, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, what would be the best way for them
Send
to
them
send
to
it?
yourself or myself. What I've been getting is different devotees sending it to my email address, Yasoda, Y-A-S-O-D-A, 1008 at yahoo.com, Y-A-S-O-D-A, 1008 at yahoo.com, or Bobby Hebert at gmail.com, BOBBYHEBERT at gmail.com. And we will make sure that your offering is posted, hopefully in time for Krishna Janmashtami and Prabhupada's appearance day. And we appreciate your participation.
Yes, actually, and you always mention it doesn't have to be long, it can be short, but I had a lady from New Jersey, and she was going to send an offering in to ISKCON Bangalore, and they sent her a note back, oh, we can't publish this because it's too long. So I told her, oh, send it over here, we'll publish it with our group. Whether it's short or long, it's most important for you to express yourself spiritually, and this will enhance your realization of your relationship with the mission of Srila Prabhupada and the mission of Lord Chaitanya. And we have so many things that we're doing. We have newsletters, we have the classes, we're printing the books, Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna Katha has there, posted behind him, and he has a studio set up that he purchased for creating the scanned books, original books for us. So this is a great resource for our group. So we're also in that, and we've got a plan for a Prabhupada Memorial Center like the Lincoln Center in Washington, D.C., and it'll be a place, it's our hope in the future, that it'll be a place where the archives will be there, that there'll be a bookstore of only Prabhupada's books. There'll be a movie theater where people can see the movies and the life of Prabhupada and hear his classes in a real setting like that. There'll be a guest house, all kinds of, there's a long list of plans for that in the future. A world headquarters focusing on Srila Prabhupada as the bona fide spiritual master for the entire world. So it's a very important thing. And we've got all kinds of plans with the work that we're doing. And we want to thank everyone for participation. We're out of time, but I'll let, I see that our friend Nilesh appeared on the scene here. He has his hand up. Yaśodā, if that's all right, he can speak for a minute. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, Nilesh Sharma.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. You know, it was interesting listening to the comments by all of you, especially by the Prabhu from Harvard. You know, it's interesting that, yes, people do love Srila Prabhupada, but sometimes they love Srila Prabhupada's position, they love Srila Prabhupada's money, they love Srila Prabhupada's service, you know, I mean, the service which he gets from his disciples. And that is sometimes more loved than what Prabhupada's instructions are, because remember, following Srila Prabhupada's instruction is like an endeavor, you know, it is a lot of hard work. And unfortunately, people have lost the real reason of how one becomes a guru, because they have accepted this path that, oh, GBC, whenever you apply to GBC and whoever GBC says, yes, I become the guru. They make it as a standard procedure without understanding the real original procedure. So we need to kind of re-stress that. In fact, on YouTube, there is a class by Srila Prabhupada, when to reject a guru. So when we talk about Vaishnava Aparadh, constantly bringing about Vaishnava Aparadh, no, that is suppressing your intelligence and you're promoting fanaticism in the process, you see. So remember, is that when you have to surrender through your intelligence, not your intelligence. And when you surrender through your intelligence is where you apply yourself constantly. This path of bhakti is a very knife-edged path. You cannot quiver, you cannot wave. You have to constantly apply yourself and be focused on. And unfortunately, people don't realize that. And so we need to revisit how one becomes a true guru, how one becomes a Diksha and a Shiksha guru has to be revisited constantly so that people know what is the real process and thereby see the distinction between these two processes. So I think we need to reiterate those points. And whenever Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu can, please, he should reiterate those points again and again and again in his classes so that it reinforces even in our mind, and sometimes we kind of tend to waver off on that particular part. So whether somebody represents you or somebody requests you, you cannot. Even there is the confusion amongst some of the so-called senior devotees where aren't there any pure devotees? Yes. But the pure devotee will never become an initiating guru unless ordered by his spiritual master. So a pure devotee will all the more be deficient on becoming a spiritual master without the explicit instructions coming from his spiritual master. So there's a lot of little haziness about this, and we need to be constantly reminded about it. Hare Krishna.
I thought it's very interesting, and thank you, you're right. Vinay Sharma makes a point here to everyone. New people in ISKCON are always threatened about Vaishnava Aparadh to make them avoid these discussions. And ISKCON guys say that people who don't surrender to their gurus are very puffed up, and Ritviks don't follow the principle of dasa, anudasa. So that's just false propaganda, twisting of philosophy in order to keep their followers bewildered and confused. So this is unfortunate. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. All glories to the Prabhupada Disciples Association, its membership, and to the Hare Krishna Society, started in 2002 by Yaśodā-nandana in California. And it's a registered charity that we operate for the advancement of the Sankirtan movement, a religious organization, not just a charity, excuse me. Let's go, Yaśodā, to the chanting of Hare Krishna by Srila Prabhupada from the 60s, playing the bongo drum. So chant along for a few minutes as part of your kirtan, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday morning for Bhagavad Gita as it is at 10 a.m. Eastern Canada Standard Time. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Hare Krishna. Thanks everybody for participating. We will see you all on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Board Time in Hamilton, Ontario time. And again, everybody, please try to send your Vyasa Puja offerings. It would be great appreciated. Whether it's a small offering or a long offering, it doesn't matter. Please offer to His Divine Grace a Vyasa Puja homage. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam